Hey there, I'm Lori, and this is my sewing room. Today I am working on a couple of book sleeves, and I decided that I wanted to use up some denim fabric that I had left over from when I cut off a pair of my husband's jeans for him. So I have, this is what it's going to look like. So let me turn the camera around and show you how I make it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to prepare by cutting off the hem. I'm gonna kind of get that out of the way first. Boy, that is hard. I wonder if I should use my scissors instead of the rotary cutter. I just wanted a really straight edge. There, that's nice and straight. I think I'll make that the front. And as far as the length, let me go get a book. All right, so I went and got a couple of different books to try out to get an idea. If I slide this in, I'm gonna want room for it to close and go a little bit further down. So maybe right about that looks good. And let me see if that's the same for this one. So I've got a paperback too, so there's plenty of room for my little thin paperback. And then there's room for the hardback. So, and that gives me enough room for a seam allowance. And believe it or not, this is a fairly new blade. This is not an old dull blade. This is one of those titanium ones. So it's not that there's anything wrong with the blade. It's just really thick. Almost. Come on, last little bit. Oh, I missed a spot here. There. Okay. Now this leftover piece here is what I want to try to turn into a pocket. And I know it's going to be tricky. I'm going to cut that off right there. It's going to be tricky sewing it on. I'll probably have to remove my little table, you know, my sewing table, and use the thing you use for sleeves when you're sewing on, or, you know, sewing something small. Most sewing machines these days have a little thing you can pop out so that you've got a narrow space. So let me take a look. Where's my phone? Let me take a look and find an image of what a jeans pocket should look like. Okay, so this is the one I think I'm going to try to imitate. And I noticed that they use kind of yellow thread, which is what they've used on this here. So let me trace out a template for that. All right. right, so I've got the decorative portion of the pocket stitched, and now I'm trying to decide how best to apply the pocket to the front. And I'm thinking that I might have to unstitch the leg. Unstitch this part here, because I don't see how I'm going to get this on here. And I want to top stitch. I'm trying to mimic as much as possible a real pocket on a pair of jeans. And I'm going to want to top stitch this in the orange. I found a spool of thread at Joann's that was labeled as jeans thread. It's real heavy duty. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this to fold these things down and then save the stitching for when I actually put it on here, because if I stitch it, the stitches are going to show, and I don't want that. So let me see what I can do. All right, so now I'm ready. I top stitched the top of the pocket, and now I need to position it. Now when I lay these two out like this, this is clearly bigger than this, but I noticed that there's a fold here, so that when these are stitched back together, it won't lay. It'll lay like a regular pant leg. So I'm going to consider this the edge rather than this when I center it. So what I'm going to do is use my chalk to find the center, and with my chalk I'm going to mark a grid. All right, so this is 8 3/4, so 4 1/4, 4 3/8, I think. 4 3/8, and then I don't want to put it too close to the top. Let me run a line down here. All right. So that'll help me to make sure it's straight. Okay. Pin this in the middle. Okay. All right. So I have to choose a fabric for the lining, and I recently inherited these. My sister had them put away from some fabric that she got from my grandmother when she passed away. And any of these would be really cute. And I think I don't want it to be too girly in case a guy might like to use these, although I guess guys don't really care if their books stay in good shape. I don't know. I think I'm going to use this. This looks like it goes well with denim, so I'm going to use that. Okay. So now let's cut this. Where did my scissors go? There they are. So now I need a button. God, that one's a little bit too fancy, I think. There's that one. That's kind of nice. And then I've got this one, but I kind of like that one. That's kind of nice. So I've put some stabilizer on the back to give it some extra stiffness. And let me see, and I'm going to use this button. Let's see here. So now I need to make the loop of elastic. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to use a loop of this. All right, so this is the finished product. As you can see, what I did was I imitated the shape of a jeans pocket, stitched the design across the middle, did the top stitch, and then applied the pocket to the the denim fabric, which meant I had to unstitch. I had to pick this apart, sew it on, and then reattach it. I've got an elastic loop that closes it, and I used, for this one, I used a blue lining fabric, and it's got a woven stabilizer instead of batting so that it doesn't get to be too thick. So the pocket's very handy for holding writing utensils, reading glasses, telephones, whatever. And it's a good size. It'll hold a good size book. And then I used a decorative button with the jeans thread, make it all match. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy. That's how they turned out. The elastic is stitched in with a little bit of, I took a little bit of the stabilizer and ironed it together to hold it, and then I stitched that across to give it a little extra something to pull on so that it's not just loose in there. So that turned out pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. If you like these kind of videos, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in any of these, you can find them in my Etsy shop, which will be linked below. Bye.